So you're thinking of moving out of your parents' house. Big ups, big ups. That's a major move. But let's pause. Let's think about it for a second and really weigh the options now, because this is a conversation I have to have with myself daily, weekly, monthly. I love my parents down, and honestly, living with them in my 20s has served me a lot better than I thought it would. But one thing about me, I love my independence. Okay, let me go toward this apartment and imagine my life as a real adult, living on my own, taking on the city, okay, and answering to nobody. But also, let me think about the economy and my financial future, and just appreciating the time that I have with my parents. Yeah, I have to remind myself of that a lot, to think like, okay, girl, there's the fantasy you were sold when you were younger versus the reality of where you're at right now and what life looks like right now. So I want to weigh the pros and cons of living with your parents in your 20s. And, I hope this is helpful to everybody. I really just need this reminder for myself to visit this video next time I'm on HotPads and apartments.com and Zillow, to be like, yo, chill, bruv. Chill. Daddy, chill. Or to be like, actually, you know what? It's time for me to go. Because I've lived on my own many a times. In college, of course. Once I graduated, I got a place on my own. I've even lived on my own outside of the country before. I don't know, I always feel like life is a little bit worth living a little bit more when I'm on my own. But I am also learning that I need to appreciate the time that I have to live with my parents, because one of the biggest pros, babes, is the lack of rent. Okay, the lack of a mortgage if you want to buy a home. Just the amount of money that you save living with your parents, even if you do help them with rent, chances are you're paying a lot less than market price, especially if you live like in an Atlanta, a New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, one of a major city. You're saving a lot of money. So we all know that. We all know that is the biggest appeal when it's time to decide whether you want to move out in your 20s and live your big adult life. Because that life comes with big adult bills. So we know that we have to keep that in mind. But I also feel like that's such a big pro, but sometimes it feels like, is that enough? If it's not enough, here are a couple more pros. For me, I'm trying to be settled somewhere. I've lived in different cities in a different country before, and I really like that feeling of being on my own and being like, one guess she taking on the world, yes. But I know that a part of it is also like my want to not feel tied down to some place. I am just like, where can I go? Like, where can I live? I just want to be on my own. I want to be free. I want to move. I've talked about that already, my addiction to moving. And I just need to work on being settled and allowing myself to feel security and stability somewhere before I go looking for the next place. So that's why I'm at my parents' house right now. I'm trying to be settled here, make it into a place that I know I love here without the expectation of I'm leaving soon. Because I think when you do enter a space with the expectation that you're not going to be there long, so it doesn't really matter like what it looks like. You don't need to put up your art. You don't need to lay down your furniture. It's so different than when you enter a place where you're like, this is home. Like, I love it here because I've decorated it how I want it to look. And it's just really nice to have a place where you're just familiar, where it just looks and feels like home. And it's hard to if you're always moving. So at your parents' house, all the money you're saving, babes, you can use that to invest into your own room. And maybe you have multiple rooms, just making it into somewhere where you're excited to be in, where that's your haven if it's not. I know that's what I need to work on. But that's a pro, because baby, all this money I'm saving, let me make it into something that I want to live in. Also, your parents are getting older. I hate to say that because it's just so like, oh my God, mortality. But it's the truth that your parents are getting older and life gets kind of hard physically, especially after 50, I feel like. After 50, after 60 and beyond. So it's like you need to appreciate them while you have them around, where you can literally open the door and be like, Mom, Dad, rah, 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 rah. But also they might need you to help take care of them in certain aspects. And I'm about to get emotional. Hold on. Not me getting emotional. Okay, I think I've gathered my emotions. I guess just thinking about my parents' mortality was just a little bit too real for me. That's definitely a major pro, I think, with living with your parents, is just like getting to see them as humans that low-key need you more than you need them. Like, not only may they need help physically, but like emotionally, mentally. Because I know, like, growing up, a lot of us are like, baby, do you know what gentle parenting is? Do you even have gentle in your vocabulary? And for me, I found that my parents have gotten a lot more gentle as I've gotten older. So I think that's a good pro for me. Like, it's not a toxic environment for me to be in. But also, like, when they work my last nerve, I could really practice what it's like to be like, okay, they're human. How should I approach this conversation? Because I also think when you're at home, especially if you're living in your childhood home with them still, it's so easy to revert back to that space emotionally. And that is a con. Like, if you feel like you're back to your 12-year-old self, that's definitely a con. So sometimes you need to remember, like, you're the adult in this situation, the one who is breaking generational cycles, okay? Your parents are senior citizens, for lack of a better word, and you are the adults, so you need to teach them. No, but really, like, it's good to just see them as humans and just get to know them, like, hear the stories. Like, randomly my dad will come home from work and we're talking about one thing, and then he'll be like, oh yeah, by the way, like, he'll tell me some traumatizing stuff about his life, and I'm like, I never knew you went through that. Oh my goodness. And it's just good to keep in mind, because the more I get to know them, the more I understand why they were the way they were and how they raised me, like what made them end up raising me that way. Yeah, it allows me to have a lot more empathy for my parents living with them. That is an unexpected pro that the girlies don't realize. You might have a lot of empathy if it's not a toxic environment. Again, as you get to know your parents as in your adult age, in your 20s or 30s, however old you are, living with them again. Because maybe you're contemplating like, oh, should I renew my lease or should I move back in with them? And I know I was thinking about this when I had my apartment fresh out of school, and I just loved being on my own, but I was like, I'd rather not be paying these bills. So should I go back to my parents? Thinking about the lack of independence was definitely a factor in me wanting to pay that rent. So let's talk about the cons. Baby, no full independence. If you're going in and out of the club, we definitely fam living together. So you're going to tell me where you were and where you're going, and you're going to be gone for how long, and if you follow me on Instagram and stuff, you might see that I be outside. I like to travel a lot, and I just like to hang out with my friends, and sometimes I won't be home for days on end. And like, it's definitely a pivot for me to like text my dad or my parents and be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to be home for this many days. And you know, the child in me is like, oh my God, please don't question me. Like, oh, leave me alone. I'm an adult. I shouldn't even have to send you this text. But it's just kind of courteous, like, let somebody know that you're alive and well. And it took me a while to learn that. But yeah, you can't just like leave the house and be gone for days on end if you want to, just because. And babes, what you're wearing, I don't know about you, but I got traditional Kenyan parents. And when they see my outfits, they be like, where are you going? And where's the rest of your outfit? And I'm like, it's right here on my body as is. And it's so uncomfortable leaving the house sometimes. Like, me and my friend were going out for the Super Bowl, and we both like came home, and when we came back to my place to change, and my mom was in the living room, and we looked so cute. She was complimenting our outfits because it was Galentine's. We had like pink long dresses, so cute. And then we changed, both wearing like super short skirts. And my mom, she's at least stopped with the commentary. And I think also I had a friend over, so she just looked and looked away. Didn't say a word. Honestly, prefer it that way. I will say that my parents have gotten a lot better about commenting on where I am, like asking me where I am, or asking me, what am I wearing? Stuff like that, you had to grow up with. I never thought I'd see the day. But hey, it took 20 plus years, but we're here. And I also had to train them a little bit. Like, if you're asking me where I am, I'll let you know when I get home. Maybe don't do that, because I literally wouldn't text them back till like I'm back in the house. That's not great for safety, but why are you questioning me? Like, I'm an adult. Oh my God. And I think that's also a con. Just being in your 20s, you want to feel like an adult. So living with your parents seems like an oxymoron to that. I don't know that I would say that it is, but it definitely feels like it, especially in your early 20s. But you just have to also remember that independence comes with bills, okay? You want to do big people things, you're going to get them big bills to match. Oh my God, just adulting is like, if it's not rent, it's the utilities being higher, the electricity bill is higher than usual, now your car is messing up. When they say it's always something, nothing feels like it until you start living on your own and paying your own rent. It's always something. Do you understand how expensive life gets when you have to pay for everything? Not just like, oh, maintenance, ooh, new clothes, ooh, new nails, ooh, new shoes, ooh, love this purchase this, purchase that. Jeff Bezos gonna make you rich with all these Amazon packages. No, you also have big bills. And it's just like, I spend $50 a day just to breathe. Another pro, actually, that I almost forgot to mention is that if you're creative, baby, that financial freedom of not having to be tied to a job, or better yet, being stuck in between jobs until you get the next check, is great when you're at home with your parents and you don't got to worry about those bills. Yeah, that's a big one. But for my regular 9-to-5 working girls, that might not be much of a factor, but also, the job security in this administration is not that secure, so keep that in mind. You need to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Sorry, I'm done with the cons living with your parents, because let's talk about how this is an underrated con of living on your own. Cooking and figuring out what to eat every day. Oh. Every day. Let me tell you, when I lived on my own, like, I would cook the same thing for 6 weeks in a row sometimes. The same dinner for 6 weeks just to meal prep. Like, I'm at the point where I don't mind eating the same thing over and over and over again. And that's what I used to complain about to my parents, because I'm like, we're eating this again, ugali again, girl. Like, I'm tired of it. But now that I'm an adult, babes, I'm eating the same thing. I don't have the mental capacity.
So we don't have the capacity
to be trying to figure out what to eat every night or every couple nights. I'd rather starve at this point. Yeah, that's a pro to living with your parents. Like, if they cook, baby, that is so slept on, because besides the physical toll that takes, the mental toll of figuring out what to eat, oh my gosh. And then also with your parents, it's just like nice to be around people that love you unconditionally. I don't know if it's really unconditional, but they love you deeper than most people will. So that's just nice to have. Once you are done with that, like, you can't recreate that with other people. Like, there's nobody who's gonna be able to love you like your parents. Most parents, I will say, will have more grace for you. Okay, don't bring that European nonsense into my ethnic household, talking about move out when you're 18 and do this and do that. No, we're a community, okay? I think I'm pretty biased, and I know this. Like, I know I prefer living with my parents for now, but the thought of having my own apartment, I just want to be an adult. No, I don't. Oh my gosh, no, I'm good. Now, there's a lot of pros to living on your own that I'm not discussing right now. That'll be another video, but I can't think about that right now because I'm trying to tell myself that it's good that I'm living here. Once I move out again, then we can discuss the pros more. But for now, I enjoy being at home. I will take the lack of independence for now because I love my parents. That's all from me. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Comment below if you team living with your parents. Oh my god, saying team is so millennial. Comment below if you prefer comment below if you prefer living with your parents or living at home. I feel like I know what most people will comment, but I don't know. Let me know. Did I miss some points? I don't know. Okay. Bye. Thanks for watching. Be blessed.
Yeah.